In the almost 25-year history of competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee, there has only been one Ice Climbers player to ever win a major tournament. That was Chudat at Pound 2 in 2007. That's not like a quirky, fun trivia fact, it's just like a generational drought. Over the last 2 decades, we have had the entire Five Gods era, the rise and fall of wobbling, the global pandemic, the Slippy Renaissance, all of modern Melee, and in that entire span of time, no other Ice Climbers player has ever stood at the top of a major bracket since. But today, I want to talk about a one-day tournament that produced some of the craziest matches I've seen in a very long time, including a grand finals that I think we should be talking about for a while. Thank you to Marvel Contest of Champions, who has paid to be mentioned in today's video. Marvel Contest of Champions is an arcade-style fighting game on mobile and PC with over 350 champions from across the Marvel universe. The controls are pretty easy to pick up, but there's real depth to the combat. Precise dodges, timed attacks, RPG mechanics layered right on top. It's not just button mashing, there's some actual real fighting game crossover here, which obviously on my channel I like that a lot. You can play it solo through epic quests or join an alliance and get into the alliance wars with friends, which is where things get really competitive. Oh yeah, the game's also completely free to play, so there's really no reason to not try it. Right now they're actually running a time-limited heavy hitters bundle. You get 10 champions for free, which includes Hercules, The Thing, that's my goat, Shang-Chi, and Iron Fist, but it's only available until May 6th. Even if you miss out on the bundle, the game has a bunch of my favorite heroes though, like Deadpool. If you're interested, you can download the game using my link in the description or scan the QR code right here to claim it yourself. Thanks again to Marvel Contest of Champions for supporting the channel, and I hope you enjoy today's video. Okay, so let's just get a quick recap out of the way. It is March 28th, 2026, and we are at Out of the Blue 5, a one-day tournament in Chicago with 256 entrants. This is certainly not the biggest tournament of the year by numbers, but the talent pool was stacked in a way that the bracket size didn't really communicate. To rattle off a few, Zain, Hungrybox, Jmook, Moki, and Joshman, who are all players who have been ranked top 5 or higher in the last couple of years, were all here. Zain was probably the most expected winner for this despite having a pretty rocky start to the year. He was seeded first as well, and he was even a part of probably what will be considered the set of 2026, which I'll get to in a minute, but he ended up at 5th place at this tournament. Moki, the most recent first-time major winner, got 4th, Jmook 9th, Joshman 7th, and Hungrybox 3rd. By nearly all metrics, the seeding at this tournament got absolutely obliterated. When the dust had settled, there were 2 rather unexpected players standing in grand finals. The first was Wizzrobe, a Captain Falcon player who made history in 2019 as the first Captain Falcon player in almost 15 years to win a major tournament. He followed that history up a couple years after that with another win at Mainstage 2021, built himself an incredible resume over the next few years with an average ranking of around 10, and then made his way back inside the top 10 at the end of 2025, but he hasn't won another major tournament since. The other player in the equation was SluG, an Ice Climbers player who completely disappeared from Melee in 2022 after getting ranked top 10 and returned in 2025 to wrap up the year at global rank 27. SluG, in my opinion, was a big what-if in Melee in 2022. He showed that the character could still hang at the top level in a post-wobbling metagame, and that number 10 ranking was the first time an Ice Climbers player had made it into the top 10 on a full year ranking since Wobbles did it in 2013. So we had a Captain Falcon and an Ice Climbers in grand finals. For reference, the last time a Falcon had even appeared in grands was Wizzrobe again at Riptide 2023. To peel back that curtain even further, Ice Climbers hadn't seen a top 2 placement since Chudat at DreamHack Austin in 2017. This was a pretty insane character matchup to have in grand finals of a one-day major, and it further cemented my belief that Melee is almost never done surprising us. For even more reference, across all tournaments listed as majors in 2025, there were only 5 unique characters represented in grand finals. Fox and Marth from the as expected Cody Schwab and Zain, Jigglypuff 3 times from Hungrybox, Sheik once from Jmook, and Peach once from Triff. In only 2 events in the 2026 calendar year, we have gotten 4 unique characters. That is just wild. So as most tournaments go, the early stages of bracket mostly went according to script. Your expected names handled their business and moved on. But I would say the real chaos started just outside of top 8. It all started when SluG beat Jmook 3-1, which set up a 1-2 punch of Jmook into Crudo, which took him out of the tournament at 9th. On the other side, Wizzrobe beat out Aklo 3-1, then Joshman 3-1, setting up a top 8 match between him and Zain. See, I told you I'd get there. Like I said earlier, this already goes down as one of the best sets of the year, and looking at the scoreboard simply does not tell the whole story. Wizzy took a commanding game 1 with a 3-stock, Zain clapped back with 2 of his own to bring it to set point, and an absolute nail-biter game 4 with Zain throwing away his final stock forced a decisive game 5. And I'll just say it, this is where shit got real, because at first it looked like that small mistake from Zain was going to blow up in his face. Wizzy went up 4 stocks to 1 in the first minute and a half of game 5. By nearly all metrics, this set was over, but Zain kept fighting and fighting and fighting. Just like that, it somehow became last stock. Game 5, both players at high percent, genuinely anybody set to take. Zain gets what looks like one of the last meaningful hits off stage, and he follows Wizzy down in a similar way to Game 4. But an immediate up air smacks Zain into the stage, no tech, and the set is over. Wizzrobe wins 3-2. You can even see on the final screen that Wizzrobe is way too far away to be able to recover from that distance. The up air was a pure gamble, and it was pure cinema. So with that win, Wizzrobe was sitting pretty in winners finals, but on the other side of the bracket, SluG was still making his moves too. He beat Moki in another extremely close 3-2 to find his seat with Wizzy in winners finals, a historic Falcon Ices matchup where both players were guaranteed a podium placement. Now with Zain and Moki in the losers bracket, it was turning into a demolition derby. But somehow, all things chaos find its home with this man. Also, hi, if you're enjoying this so far and you haven't subscribed yet, now would be a great time to consider it. It's pretty tough for me to get these recaps out quickly because I usually want to write and edit them myself, and I'm still trying to keep up with weekly uploads to, you know, like feed the YouTube machine or whatever. But I think all of my videos are kind of a labor of love, so if you want to support the channel and help me keep making these, it's free to subscribe. You can always take it back if you don't think my channel's worth it, but just know I appreciate you even considering it in the first place. Also have a really special project planned for 200k subscribers, so hopefully we can get there soon. Okay, shill's over. Thank you. Bye. Let's put the HBox screen back on. I need a transition. Go. All right. So after the Moki loss, HBox's losers bracket started with a real close game 5 versus Aklo, but then the demon arrived. Zain. Now, normally I would say Zain falling to the losers bracket is either really good or really bad for Hungrybox. It's really good if HBox is still in winners because it gives him a more clear path towards grand finals, and it's really bad if he's not because they'll have to play before grand finals. It should be pretty obvious. Also, Zain's kind of been shitting on him lately. I want to slow down on this set for a second though, because this player matchup has just become absolutely fascinating to me over the years. I talked about this in an older video, but the general story arc for these two goes kind of like this. For years, Zain had this matchup on lock, just straight up. He had an almost 3-year-long winning streak against Hungrybox, starting near the end of 2022 and lasting all the way until mid-2025, where HBox finally broke the streak at Full House 2025. Prior to the Zain domination, Hungrybox was considered so good at this matchup that he had only lost to one other Marth player over the last 8 years, which was PewPew at Apex 2015. But what really made this interesting to me was that in that 3-year stretch of Zain winning, their sets were almost always 3-0s or 3-2s. This time, it wasn't a 3-0 or a 3-2. A 3-1 victory over 2025's Global Rank 1 knocked Zain out at 5th place, and Hungrybox proceeded to rampage his way into a 3rd place podium following another close set versus Wizzy. I'm not going to go deep into the minutia of how Hungrybox won this set since I kind of already did that in the Full House video last year, and I did a several hour stream analysis of his first to 50 match versus Zain, and I would definitely make another video breaking all of this down if you guys wanted that, but I would say getting another win on Zain is already worth its weight in gold. At Out of the Blue though, I think Hungrybox was only the B plot.
Now, perfectly spaced bear. And
oh my god.
Game JV3 to end it, 3-1.
Hates it. Zain is out of the tournament at 5th in what many were calling the best bracket he could have had. He bows out. at a 5th place, and for the first time in Blue history, the first seed has not won the tournament.
Yeah, and that fun fact became a lot more fun now, although it's not a fact, but we're having fun up here.
The A plot at this tournament was SluG. And I really want to reiterate the weight of this because I think to a Melee casual, you may not realize how truly insane it is to see an Ice Climbers in Grand Finals. Like I said in the intro, the last time an Ices player won a major was 2007 when Chudat won Pound 2. Since then, the single best placements the character has ever had were these: Wobble's 2nd place at EVO 2013, Fly Amanita's 2nd place at Press Start, Chudat's 2nd place at DreamHack Austin 2017, SluG's 4th place at Double Down, the Ludwig Smash Invitational, and Main Stage all in 2022, and Nikki's 3rd place at Don't Park on the Grass in 2024 and Nouns Bowl in 2025. These are all excellent individual placements to be making with a character some probably considered dead to the meta since the wobbling ban, but to see an Ice Climbers in Grand Finals of a major tournament, even if it was only a one-day event, is something that has just not happened in almost 10 years. For people who weren't following the scene in 2022, SluG had a breakout year where he cracked the top 10, took sets off of players like Zain, Mango, Moki, and Jmook, and looked like he might be the player to finally break through for Ice Climbers. But then, like the Avatar, he vanished, only showing up to a few sporadic events in 2023 and 2024, but never enough to qualify him for rankings based on attendance. Now it really seems like he's back, playing the best Melee of his career, and it is showing with this bracket positioning. And it wasn't like his bracket to get here was easy either. Jmook, Ossify, Moki, and Wizzrobe are all very different opponents, each representing different characters, and all players who have been ranked quite high in the last couple of years. On the other side of this A-plot though was Wizzrobe, one of only 2 Captain Falcon players to ever win a major, the other being Isaiah back in 2005. This would be a longer major winning drought than that of Chudat's Ice Climbers, except Wizzrobe himself broke the curse at Smash and Splash 5 in 2019, and then did it again at Main Stage 2021, all while being a rather consistent top 10 player in the world for years. He's been close in recent memory, but that gold medal has evaded him ever since those wins. At Out of the Blue, Wizzy beat Zain, lost to SluG, then fought back through Hungrybox to earn that Grand Finals rematch. That Losers Finals against HBox went 3-2, which, after everything HBox had done in his Losers run, was probably a statement on its own. So here we are. As someone who loves seeing history in the making, there was a lot on the line for both of these players. The first major win for Ice Climbers in almost 20 years versus a player chasing his 3rd career major after a number of close calls. SluG had the winner's side advantage, meaning Wizzrobe needed to win 2 best-of-5 sets in order to take the entire tournament. These two, like I said, already played in winners finals where SluG won 3-2, so he had the momentum, the bracket advantage, and history all within reach. The first set went the distance, a true back-and-forth seesaw. Wizzrobe game 1, SluG game 2, Wizzrobe game 3, reset point, SluG takes game 4. A more convincing Game 5 charged the crowd with energy and swung all of that momentum back towards Wizzrobe. Set 2 begins and SluG is completely unfazed. It was another last stock battle, as the majority of the games these two played against each other were, but he sets the tone with this one. 2 more games until Ice Climbers history. Wizzy evens the set with a dominant 3 stock, swinging the historical implications right back his way. SluG takes game 3 and the whispers become louder. Is it really happening? Is an Ice Climbers player really going to win a major for the first time since 2007? All while the 4th game of the reset is unfolding, another storyline had quietly cracked itself open. A win for SluG would be a win for Ice Climbers history, sure, but we were also one single game away from going the distance again, and this matters for a pretty big reason. In the complete 25-year plus history of Super Smash Bros. Melee, a major Grand Finals has only reached the Game 10 limit 10 times. This is obviously a bit of a loaded statistic, as the definition for what qualifies as a major tournament has changed over the years, and some events have valid arguments to be retroactively considered major level, but still, that's crazy. But perhaps even more rare was that when Wizzrobe won this Game 4 and forced yet another Game 5 to decide the tournament, he entered both himself and SluG into the history books as the 2nd time in recorded history that a Game 15 Grand Finals has happened in competitive Melee. For posterity, this is also exactly what it sounds like when the players meeting in Grand Finals also played a full Game 5 set on the winner's side, and the last and only time this had happened was at Royal Flush in 2017, where Armada and Mango went the distance in winners, then twice more in Grands. To escalate the drama, much like his set versus Zain, Wizzrobe took a commanding lead a couple minutes in, up 3 stocks to 1. This, for all intents and purposes, is a pretty doomed position for SluG, until grab after grab finds him. And somehow, it all comes down to the final stock of the final possible Game 15, in one of the highest historical stakes matches in modern Melee. Welcome to a moment in history.
Could see another A knee could seal it. If we get rid of mana,
near the corner.
I think we're going last stock. I think we're going to the final stock of
He's
game
got
15.
He has to execute
Can't
here.
miss this.
He's dropped a couple. He's
Here we
not going
go.
to drop this one.
That's it.
He doesn't. Last stock.
Game 15.
Now we are at one more stock. Knee. Nana is gone. Up there he goes. Wizzy gets a knee. The first Chicago major. It goes to Wizzrobe in a game 15.
With this win, Wizzrobe earned his third ever major victory. The greatest Captain Falcon added yet another trophy to a career that has quietly become one of the most impressive displays of a character we've ever seen in Melee. And SluG finishes second, the highest major placement for a post-wobbling ban Ice Climbers player ever. The closest anyone has ever come to ending that drought since Chudat's DreamHack Austin in 2017. Now, this certainly wasn't the ending the Ice Climbers faithful were hoping for, but a game 15, that moment going down in history, is not a loss you should hang your head over. And I keep coming back to this idea in my videos that the reason we watch Melee isn't because we know what's going to happen, but rather because we don't. I don't think anyone could have predicted that a one-day tournament would have been jam-packed with this much shit. The #1 player in the world went out at 5th place. Hungrybox beat Zain again. An Ice Climbers player made grand finals from the winner's side, and somehow at the end of it all, a Captain Falcon player won the whole damn thing in a last stock game 15. Out of the Blue 5 was far from the biggest tournament of the year. It was a capped out 256 player event on a sunny Saturday in Chicago. But as we all know by now, the best Melee happens when you're not expecting it, when no one's watching. But this weekend, I think all of us were. I think Wizzrobe has easily built a legacy for himself as the best Captain Falcon player to ever do it. And as for SluG, if he sticks it out for a full ranking season, I believe he'll get his moment too. Thanks for watching. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I want to do a deeper dive on current meta Ice Climbers at some point because I think that'd be an interesting story to tell, and I couldn't fit everything in here, so let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be into. Big thanks to my top tier patrons and YouTube members. Check out those links if you feel like supporting the channel, and more importantly, if you have the disposable income to do so. Thank you to Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Brent Mukai, Carter Roberts, Dark Genix, Eric is Cool, Gustavo Cantu Fernandez, James Fabman, Justin Duncan Mills, Kyle Carlin, Marshall Bradley, and Sam Wright. All right, that's it. Bye.